Is Santa Claus Greek? Let's cut to the chase right away. The modern Santa Claus is undoubtedly based on various traditions. On the historical Greek saint Nicholas, the English figure of Father Christmas, the Dutch figure of Santa Claus, also based on St. Nicholas, and a lot of American advertising. Long story short, yes, even Santa Claus is Greek. But how did it all begin? Welcome to not another Greek history podcast, the podcast that aims to be exactly what it says. I'm your host, Onoufilos Dovletis, and together we'll discover the not-so-frequently told stories of Greece's history that will change the way you view things forever. Saint Nicholas, Agios Nikolaos in Greek, of Myra, which is now part of Turkey and is very close to the Greek island of Castellorizo, very close to Rhodes as well. He was a Greek Christian bishop born in the city of Patara. He lived in the time of the 3rd and 4th century AD. We're talking about roughly 270 to 343 AD. His parents were probably named Epiphanios or Theophanis, very close, and Ioanna or Nonna. Just for the sake of it, I'm mentioning both versions of these names. Nikolaos was famous for his generous gifts to the poor. A famous story involved the saint offering dowries to the 3 daughters of a Christian so that they would not have to become prostitutes. It's either dowry or prostitution back then. Eventually he became the patron saint of sailors. Some beautiful paintings of Saint Nicholas we can see on the island of Milos in Greece, which is really worth visiting, by the way. In that sense, we can also think of him as a Christian version of the ancient Greek god Poseidon. It makes perfect sense that being the protector of sailors, he is of course the patron saint of all of Greece, which is a maritime country par excellence. "700 years after his death. In the 11th century, Myra is occupied by the Turks as they march towards the west. Eventually, and despite the objection of the 4 monks in the Greek church in Myra, Italian merchants from Bari removed the major bones of the saint's skeleton from his sarcophagus, which one can see in the St. Nicholas Church in what is now called Demre in Turkey. Of course, the Italians consider that to have been a rescue mission, which seems like a great excuse for a lot of Western European countries to keep other people's relics, or body parts in this case. His bones, of course, are still in the Basilica of St. Nicholas in Bari, that the Pope, by the way, inaugurated back in 1089, that's like 1,000 years ago, 1089, and personally placed the saint's relics in the church. Keep in mind that only 10 years later, the First Crusade will begin, and as those men gather in Bari, the patron saint of sailors, Nicholas, of course, whose cult hadn't been that popular until that time, will become a very popular choice. The Venetians, on the way to Jerusalem, also took the remaining bones. Of course, they hadn't taken everything, so it's like, okay, what's left to take? And they also took bones of other bishops of Myra. Taking stuff obviously kind of became a habit for the Venetians, to be honest, and took them to the church of St. Nicholas of Lido in Venice. Also, small bones from his skeleton began to disperse across Western Europe, especially after the 4th Crusade, during which Constantinople, the renamed Greek colony of Byzantium practically, was brutally sacked, as you might know, and that's how practically the horses that we see on top of the church in Venice, St. Mark's Church, that's where they came from. St. Nicholas' skeleton, by the way, has been examined, and scientists found that the saint suffered from severe chronic arthritis. Not even saints can escape arthritis or other diseases, obviously. The irony is that recently the Turkish government, recently being a few years ago, announced that it would formally request the return of the saint's remains to be returned to Turkey. Of course, because now his homeland is part of Turkey. From Italy, because they want to, quote, respect the wish of Saint Nicholas. I guess that there was nothing in it for Muslim Turkey, which is asking for a Christian saint back. I really doubt they would be asking for his body to be returned. Time is passing, and now we're in the Renaissance. By now, it is already common for children to receive gifts in the honor of Saint Nicholas on the day before his name day, which is, of course, December 6th. The custom of giving gifts on Christmas Day, though, was actually the idea of a German professor of theology, Martin Luther, the one that sparked the Reformation. He was born in 1483 and died in 1546, just so we all know that, me included. He suggested Christmas as an alternative to the very popular St. Nicholas custom to focus children's interest on Jesus instead on saints, who are, just so you know, are actually a very big deal in the Orthodox Church. In Greece especially, saints are a huge, huge deal. Luther actually first suggested the Christkind, the Christ child, as the bringer of gifts, but eventually Nikolaos remained popular as a gift bearer, and I'm sure that you've never heard of Jesus bringing gifts. And if you saw depictions of the Christkind, the baby Christ, you'd think that Chucky and Annabelle got some serious competition. That thing looked really scary. The irony is that in Greece, the Chucky movies were actually titled Satan's Doll. And now we move on to Father Christmas. His tradition dates back as far as only the 16th century in England, but we probably had personifications of Christmas since the 15th century. Okay, not even that is a long time ago. England no longer kept the feast day of St. Nicholas on December 6th, so the Father Christmas celebration was moved to December 25th to coincide with Christmas. His physical appearance, of course, was different from one place to the other or from one book to the other, with one famous image being an illustration of the ghost of Christmas present in Charles Dickens's story, A Christmas Carol, from 1843, so again, quite recent. And then some Germanic and Norse traditions came into play, which even involved god Odin. As folklorist Margaret Baker said, the appearance of Santa Claus or Father Christmas, whose day is the 25th of December, owes much to Odin, the old blue-hooded, cloaked, white-bearded gift-bringer who rode the midwinter sky on his 8-footed steed Sleipnir, visiting his people with gifts. Odin transformed into Father Christmas, then Santa Claus prospered with St. Nicholas, and the Christ child became a leading player on the Christmas stage. So now we've come to the 19th century. Some modern ideas of Santa Claus became common after a poem that was first published anonymously by the Troy Sentinel, but was later attributed to Clement Clark Moore, an Episcopal minister. It was titled A Visit from St. Nicholas, better known now as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Keep in mind that we in Greece have no clue what that even is. And that was published on December 23rd of 1823. 1823, keep in mind, the Greeks at the same time are trying to gain their independence from the Turks. Let me just read a small part from this poem that we mentioned. "'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap." St. Nicholas is described as chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf with a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly, as we also heard Chandler say in the TV show Friends.
I didn't get to shake my belly like a bowl full of jelly.
I had no idea until I heard that line in Friends what Chandler was actually quoting. I understood that it was from something that is known in the United States, but I had no clue it was this poem until I read it. It was really funny. By the way, last but not least, let me tell you that scholars now even debate the identity of the author who wrote A Visit from St. Nicholas. Thomas Nast, a German-born American caricaturist, created the modern image of Santa Claus and also came up with the North Pole as the saint's home. What? North Pole, saint's home? Images of Santa Claus were further popularized through Coca-Cola's Christmas advertising in the 1930s, although he had been previously used by other companies as well. This led us finally to the image of the white-beard, chubby old man with the red clothes, not green as we heard earlier, that we are all familiar with today. And as for Santa Claus Village in Rovaniemi in Finland, don't even get me started. It's just an amusement park that opened only in 1985, which is the year that I was born. Sorry, Finland, otherwise there's no connection to that country whatsoever or to the North Pole. So the journey from a Greek seaside town that is now part of Turkey all the way through Europe and America to the North Pole has been truly a wonder, I would say. But I saved the best for last. Although Santa Claus, originates from Greece, the gift bearer in Greece is Saint Vasilios. That's Basil. In Greek tradition, Basil is the one who brings gifts to children every January 1st, which is his name day. And of course that coincides with New Year's Day. Practically, the very people that started the gift bearer saint tradition with Saint Nicholas are using a different one than the rest of the Christian world. You didn't see that coming, did you? If you made it all the way to the end, good job and thank you for listening. Here are some Greek Christmas carols for you, where we mentioned Saint Vasilios and not Santa Claus. Kala Christougena. In Greek, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Thank you all for joining me on this amazing journey through history. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. And please share. Until next time, this is Onufrios Dovletis signing off from Not Another Greek History Podcast.